Hi everybody. So we're going to have a look at our English books course. These are books that are very popular in the world of business, personal development and company development or career development. And they are based on a selection of recommended books from all over the web. And these books have been summarized and have been adapted to specific levels. And we're going to have a look at these and see how we can use this material in order to increase our English usage and to develop our language skills a little bit further. So I'm going to go straight into our English books course. Going straight into the course, we will see that we can start the course and we can have a look at the curriculum. Let's see the books that are on offer. The first course that's on offer is How to Win Friends and Influence People. This book, of course, is a typical recommendation that you find all over the web. Along with that, Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. And there are other books there from Brian Tracy or Getting to Yes, The Psychology of Selling. And we will be adding more books later as the course progresses. So let's jump in and take a look at the first book and the first chapter of How to Win Friends and Influence People. So once you've signed in, you'll see a screen like this. It's marked here as completed because I've completed this course. But when you log in, this button here won't be marked completed and you can continue on and read the material. You can choose, I've got 3 levels here, B1, B2 and C1. In case you're unsure of what these levels mean, basically B1 is at the early intermediate levels, and then this advances to B2 is more advanced, and then C1 is typically a very advanced high-level English reader and speaker. So let's look at them now. You'll notice on the left-hand column there are all the chapters. And the first chapter is we're going to read, and the second one is our training exercises, so that we begin to use the text and the material in another way. So let's look first at the first one. And I'm going to select the B1 version, which is the lowest level of the text that's on offer here. And I've got a couple of things I can do. I can read the material that's there on the screen, or I can play the text and read along with it. And then in a second phase of the lesson, I can look at these questions and I can type or transcribe a response. Let's look at the first lesson and see how I might use this. So obviously this is the audio for the lesson. And if I play this audio, I can use it to shadow. I can use it to check pronunciation and check my intonation, perhaps. Let's have a listen to what it sounds like.
In today's workplace, companies that value team spirit and enthusiasm can achieve better results.
Okay, so the audio continues on there. I won't play it all, but it's the exact copy of the text that is there. And this allows us to practice a little bit more, to perhaps speed up our reading, or just to enjoy the reading a little bit more also. The questions here are just to help us say something, so you don't have to answer them exactly. The most important thing is to use some of the words that you see here. So, for example, I see a phrase here. If I was on a B1 level, maybe this word here, workplace, this might be important for me. Maybe enthusiasm, maybe that's hard to pronounce. Instead of typing, I'd recommend speaking and turning on the microphone on your laptop. This way, it will transcribe, and also you might have to make extra effort with pronunciation. I'm going to activate my microphone. Yes, I agree. In the workplace, companies should value team spirit. Full stop. I think enthusiasm is very important. That's a basic example of just using some of the words, trying to put it into phrases. And then that way, once we speak a little bit And not just only read it, we also want to make sure that whatever we're doing, there is some sort of active involvement. So we've got a chance to read, to listen, which are all passive, but we want to do something. So we want to speak out or type, whichever you prefer. So what you can do, once you've finished giving your opinion and using some of the words, or maybe simply noting down a list of the words that you've learnt, you can press the save button here, and it gives you a copy of what you said. If I wish, I can also click on the B2 version, and I might like to make a comparison. From a B1 trying to move to B2, I might like to read both texts. So B2 is another level up, and I can basically do the exact same thing. We notice that the B2 text is a little bit longer than the B1 text. The C1 version obviously is longer again, with more challenging constructions and more examples of how we could use English addressing the same topic. So all these texts are based on the first chapter. Once you do that, that is the reading part. The next stage, which you can do, is work on the training. It's going to be some questions. And this is basically the text we have just read, with some gaps. If I don't know, I can click on the chapter heading, the version, and I can bring up the audio and I can listen to it again to get the word.
In today's workplace, companies that value team spirit and enthusiasm.
Yeah, and I can type it in here or I can transcribe it, whichever I wish to do. I will then continue on, enter in these answers, and I can check my answers at the end. Once I do that, if I check my answers, okay, let me enter in. And I don't have to finish the quiz completely. And so this is one thing that might be helpful and useful if you don't have time, but you want to do a little bit. You can always do that. Click on the check answers. You have to have at least one check answer in, and I get feedback immediately. If I wish, I can move on to the second one, which was the B2 level. So this is the B1, and I could go to the next one, B2. And even if I am not at a B2 level, I can still listen to this and try and get the word that is at the start here, for example.
Organizational success heavily depends on cultivating a positive.
And so it says cultivating. So I hope you enjoy the books that are on offer. I'm going to be adding to these, and I'm very open to your recommendations. If there's a particular book or a topic or series that you find really useful, I'd be more than happy to add it and to work together to build a summary, and so that the summary is graded for your level as well. So that finishes our presentation of some of the books that we have on offer, and also how to use the website and in what ways would this be useful. Some people have asked, well, can I use this material in my classes? Yeah, and yes, I think it would be a good opportunity to have be reading something and then to come to the class later on talking about this and trying to express the ideas that are in there. Also, what is very useful to do in our classes together is to reflect together on how we might like to apply some of these principles to our own work, to our lives, so that they become relevant. Because once what the content that we're reading or what we're reading becomes relevant to us, we're also making it relevant in English. And so the words should stay more because they matter more. That's it for today. Thank you very much, and looking forward to seeing you in one of our classes.